Hey everyone, it's Rebecca Undum, and you are watching Rebecca Undum Live. We're broadcasting a little bit later than normal this morning due to some video complications. So as my buddies come back, all the gals that were here, hi everybody, you're all coming. You'll have to let me know if this is better. And if it's not, I don't know what to do anymore. Like everything seems as normal as it typically would be. So maybe my computer and the whole world is sick and tired of the snow too. So we got Glow on. Hey, good morning. And Anna and Jesse. So anybody that was on before, are we still struggling with kind of a choppy broadcast like we had? Already it's better. Okay, well good, then it's worth it because like you cut out of a live video, it's kind of hard to know what's going to happen. Okay, so real quick, I hate to do this, but you're watching Rebecca Undum Live. For those of you that are new, I am the author of a book called How Mommy Got Her Groove Back, and here in my little corner of the world, we talk about all things related to groove, and it really is that that desire to grow, get better, and improve, regardless of what it is that you're doing. And today specifically, we're kicking off April's theme. So the nice thing is this kind of rebroadcast, I'm not bitching about the weather as much as I was before. Maybe a reset was just what I needed too. So today is our first Monday in April, and at Rebecca Undum at my business page, we have, oh, thanks guys. That's awesome. I'm so glad. It froze up as soon as you sent my message, but it sounds like overall we've got better audio and video quality than we had before. So I'm just going to roll with it, and I apologize for the delay. Okay, so every month on Rebecca on the Rebecca Undum page and in my Groove Seekers community, I have a new theme, and the monthly theme for April is getting motivated, which doesn't sound all that exciting, maybe, but I think that April is one of those kind of pivotal points in the beginning of the year. So you get done with that first quarter. Definitely like the mojo you felt you had in January when you were setting goals has certainly waned by now. And if you're like me, where you're still freaking looking at snow and it's April 2nd, you just literally, you need that like resurgence, kind of a recommitment to your goals. And so I just always feel like April is a good renewal time to be kind of thinking again about what is it that I said I was going to accomplish this year? What were the intentions I was trying to bring about, and recommit to those. So we're going to be talking motivation all throughout the month of April. And so today we're going to kick off the month talking about how do we balance this drive to get better with a genuine level of self-acceptance. Because honestly, and this is something that comes up all the time with the women that I talk to and I coach and I work with in both the free group and my Groove Schoolers. We talk all about how to balance growth with the need for grace. Okay, so like I've got some notes here for you guys, but if you spent any amount of time with me at all, you know that I'm pretty hell-bent on getting better. I will, and I'm a junkie. I mean, I'm like a junkie for development and change and growth, all of that stuff. And so like, if I can be a more patient mom, if I can feel a little sexier as a wife, if I can be a smarter businesswoman, if I can be a better community leader, if I can be a more compassionate friend, like you give me something that's going to move any of those needles, and I'm going to probably try to devour it and put it into practice. I'm all about that growth and the development and the change. And yet the thing is, there's moments, I think, for all of us that have that kind of desire to constantly get better at whatever it is that you're striving for. Sometimes I think we get tired and we get burnt out, and it begs the question, what if I'm just okay the way I am? Like maybe I'm good. Maybe I don't need to be constantly striving. So balancing those two things out is what we're going to talk about today. Because there's another thing I preach on, and like I get preachy sometimes. I shouldn't, but I get on a soapbox about this in particular because women specifically really struggle with the ability to give themselves some grace. Like it doesn't have to constantly be hard charging, balls to the wall, go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. Sometimes there's got to be a good heaping dose of grace in the middle of that. And also it's really important when we think about changes that we want to make, that none of them come from a place of self-loathing. And so we're going to talk about a few ways, like how do we actually balance these things out? So I've got 4 ideas, but real quick, just make sure you're all still kind of hanging with me. I'd love for like an amen from anybody that can relate to what I just described as kind of the setup for this topic. So just throw an amen down in the comments. If you've ever felt this struggle of like balancing, knowing that we should accept ourselves. Yes. Okay, Steph, you get it. It's so perfect. Okay, I'm so glad that this is a topic that I think we all need to come back to sometimes, is how do we love ourselves and honor where we're at and still desire to get better? Okay, so we got some amens coming, like, amen. All right, so here's a couple things to keep in mind. I've got 4 specific thoughts on this. I'm going to take a drink of my coffee because so my gosh, in Grove School this month, we're talking all about health in that group. And all I will say is this, I am on I've been on this health journey since August, kind of doing this one particular program. I have gone so off the rails, ladies, that it's like my body doesn't know what to do with what I fed it yesterday and this whole weekend. It's just not good. So it's really good that we're here because I need to have this kind of recommitment to my health, and it can't come from a place of self-loathing. So we're going to talk about that. Okay, hang on. I got to just have a drink of coffee. All right. First of all, this is not, number one, this is not an either or proposition. We don't have to accept, or it's not a matter that we either accept ourselves as we are or we continue to grow. So we honestly need to be able to say, like, we're good with where we are today. And again, so when we talk about good, it's not that we are okay with it, but it's that we accept it. So whether it's about who we are or how we look, whatever the thing is that you're trying to shift, it's about saying, I honor what I am and who I am today, knowing that I can always get better. So the first thing is to recognize that it's not an either or. Like you either love yourself or you change yourself. It's got to be both. Okay. So number 1's a mindset shift. It's got to be both. It cannot be one or the other. Second, I just said that we can't take on something new and have a meaningful, sustainable change when it starts from a place of self-loathing. So what we need to do is first focus on our strengths, because let's be real about this, ladies. Like, we all have limitations. Like, we know that. But when we focus on those, and yes, honestly, if we're going to be changing something or trying to improve something, we probably are trying to shift an area of weakness, right? But the difference is in the focus, okay? So many of us, we rely on self-criticism as the primary motivating factor for us to get better at something, which is super freaking sad. Like, if you really stop and think about it, and you think about how and I think health is such an easy one, right? So like when the pants don't fit anymore, or the tops get a little snugger, things start to not fit, you start to get upset with yourself, and you feel shameful, and you feel guilt, and you feel self-loathing, maybe a little bit. And that becomes like the catalyst for you to change it. Big picture, that it cannot be our primary motivator, is the disgust and disappointment we feel with ourselves. We have to start from a place of honoring the fact that, yes, our choices got us to where we're at, but we've got to also acknowledge all the good things that we bring to the table, because we can't continue to motivate ourselves from a place of self-criticism, okay? And so the thing to think about it is, like, overall, when we do that from that place of it's shame, it's embarrassment, it's disgust over anything, what we're not doing right, what we think we suck at, the things that we never get right. And again, if it's health, it's always all the physical stuff. It will leave us feeling not only disempowered or like demotivated, it will leave us feeling rejected and potentially even unloved. Okay, so because the problem with that kind of motivation is it's suggesting to us that we will only be worthy of love or self-acceptance once the things we think need to change. And we're worthy of it right now, no matter where we're at, and no matter how unhappy we've gotten with that particular area of our life. So we need to instead come from this place of, yep, I'm awesome at all of these things. And as for what I need to work on, like the things I need to fix or change or improve, yay for me. I get to work on those things. It's a and my friend that's going to be joining us in Groove School, she and I were talking about this. I have an expert guest coming in, and she has a paleo membership site. And we were talking about the fact that she calls it the pre-frame. Like the way you're framing up the reason for your change is so fundamental as to whether or not you'll actually achieve it. And it's because it can't start from this place of, I'm not good enough, I don't love myself, I can't stand myself. Because also we need to remember that it's again, that idea that as soon as these things snap into place, like I lose 20 pounds or whatever your goal is, that suddenly everything's going to be better. And that's not how improvement really works. All along a continuum of, success and improvement, you will eventually hit a different thing that becomes that trigger. So recognizing that you don't have to wait to be somehow more complete or more finished to be better. You'll be better, but not perfect. Perfect's not the goal. Progress is the goal, right? Good morning, Lindsay. Nice to see you. So number 2 is to come at it from a place of your strengths. Focus on your strengths. The third is to really check your intentions. So this is connected to number 2, but really this is all about asking yourself why you're seeking these improvements in the first place. So often we take on the things that we choose to take on to improve, to change, to grow, to please other people. Sometimes it's because we actually think if we get these things snapped into place, we will finally feel loved, we will finally feel accepted, we will finally feel valued, or we'll finally feel worthy. So if the only reason to seek improvement in a given area is because it's because we have that belief. So in that mindset, we think we're going to seek this out because of the belief that if we shift this area or move it or achieve it, that we'll finally have the joy, the success, and the fulfillment that we desire. Our motivations cannot be tied directly to something external like that. And again, we'll resort to all the feelings we just talked about in number 2. Like your outside world will never please anybody in the outside world until we figure out how to be happy with ourselves. So number 3 is check your intentions. Number 4, and this is probably one of my favorite because of just how I'm wired, like I'm super type A. So number 4 is that true self-acceptance is not resignation. And I think I have struggled with that. Like if I say I accept myself for who I am and where I am in whatever journey it is right now, it's like saying that I'm okay with it. That is not what acceptance is. Accepting is an acknowledgement that it is what it is. It's saying, okay, so I'm 10, 15, 20, 40, 100 pounds heavier than I want to be. That doesn't mean you're saying I'm okay with it. It's saying that I am still okay as a person. I'm still worthy of love. I'm still worthy of all the things that, again, this idea that when I become thinner, I'll be worthy of those things. That's not how this works at all. And if we want to actually achieve that and not hate ourselves all along the journey, we need to really start from this place of honoring who we are, honoring the place that we're in. And that's how we can make real sustainable changes. So it's acknowledging and honoring the person you are right now. And it's not the same as saying that you're okay. It's just acknowledging. So it's like saying I acknowledge the present. I see it for what it is, and I accept that this is where I'm at, and this is my starting point. So the cool thing is just because we accept it as truth doesn't mean that we don't still get to work on getting better at it. Okay, so let's see. Tiff says she loves that, Rebecca. I think most of us are screwed up about acceptance. We are. We assume that acceptance means that we love it and that's not it at all, because we would never have any reason to change anything then, right? And I think I really, this was an important topic to me to kick off April, because I literally am constantly talking about the fact that like we're either growing or we're dying. Like we're either getting better or and sometimes that journey to better, we all know this, is like many steps forward and many steps back. But I think that the real challenge is to constantly be checking your gut with the intentions of why am I changing this? Why do I want to improve this? And how do you just honor yourself? Because if we're very honest with ourselves about how we got to our point, we made choices to get ourselves wherever we are, right? And that's the part that for me, I have a hard time not feeling that self-loathing that comes up with that. Like, well, if I just hadn't been such an idiot, or if I just hadn't shoved my face full of crap this weekend, like I totally did, then I wouldn't be starting over on Monday. So I could do that all day long, right? And that maybe would motivate me for a while. It would get my butt back into the gym. It would help me, you know, make better food choices. But again, when it comes from this place that I'm somehow broken, somehow not enough, or that I need fixing, that motivation will die out, and it won't last, and it won't be sustainable, because at some point we've got to say, like, yeah, I'm a little screwed up when it comes to eating. I emotionally eat. And then you can honestly say to yourself, but look at all the other crap I do so well. Like, look at all the other ways that I kick ass and take names. So I struggle a little bit right here. Yay for me. That just means I've got something that I can work on. It's a total reframe of growth and the reason for growth. So I love that it resonates with you, Tiff. That's fantastic. So, okay, so real quick, let's do a recap. And then all I want to hear is like the number, the one that stands out or speaks to you the most. So number one is that self-acceptance and self-improvement is not an either or proposition. That in order to improve, we actually need to accept where we are and who we are. It's not either or. Number two, we have to come from a place of growth, focusing on our strengths. Yes, we're going to improve our weaknesses, but if all we do is focus on everything we suck at, everything we're not naturally inclined to do well. And again, I think when I was kind of researching this, one of the things that came up was they talked about, would we ever talk to children that way when they're trying to learn something new? No. And so why is it that as a grown-up, we struggle so much to just turn that grace and love towards ourselves? Come at your motivation to improve from a place of your strengths. Acknowledge all the awesome things you do. Look at the things you don't do so well and see them as just areas to get better, not fundamental screwed upness. Okay. Number three is to check your intentions. And really what we're looking for here is the external things that are weighing on you or pushing on you that makes you think you need to make this change. The change the desire has to come from inside. It can't be something that's forced upon us from outside. And then number four is the realization that true acceptance is not resignation. We don't have to say like, oh, I love the fact that I'm 50 pounds heavier than I was at this time last year. You don't have to love that, but you have to accept it and see it as truth and acknowledge it as truth, and that it is a part of your journey, and that from here on forward, you can make changes. So I would love to know from those of you that are listening, which of those four really speaks to you, and maybe they all do. And all I want you to know is this, that I'm never going to stop being a person that strives to change, improve, and grow. And yet I know in my heart that anytime I come at it from a place of self-loathing, guilt, shame, embarrassment, it changes everything about the journey. I feel less like a person growing, and I feel more like a person being forced to do things, or the whole feeling. It feels less like a journey, and it feels more like a prison sentence. And it just cannot feel like that, or if we want it to sustain. So Tiff said, for me, coming at it from not a place of self-loathing, and the acceptance piece speaks the most to you. And that's how I feel too. Jennifer's like 3 and 4. We got Carly and a hello, Carly. Steph said all 4. Nicole is number 2, and 1, 2, and 4 for flow. So clearly these are things that all of us, and again, I think as women, we struggle. There's that societal pressure to be a certain way, or move on, and approach things a certain way. But I think we've really got to always check our guts and ask ourselves, why is it that we're taking this on? What is the impetus to make us make this change? And is it something, and it's okay to be unhappy about where you are with something, as long as it doesn't devolve into true self-loathing, because that isn't a place where anything good can spring from. There's got to be a place of just, it's almost like an objective acknowledgement. Like if we can somehow acknowledge where we're at without emotion, and tying a good or a bad to it at all is really the goal. So Jan said, all of them, I would never speak to anyone the way you talk to yourself. Ain't that the truth, friend? I will share with you guys again, just because I think the more you see that this really happens to every single one of us. So like middle of the night last night, I woke up again with just those feelings of, I was so angry at myself, so self-critical. Because, we're talking, Easter is a holiday. So clearly, I'm going to make some not awesome choices, but lately it's been like a free-for-all on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Every weekend, I just completely lose my mind, and I cannot make a single healthy choice to save my soul. Still exercise, but on the food side of things, right? So I lay there, and I just think how dumb I am, and how pathetic it is, and like, why can't you get your shit together, Rebecca? Like, these are the things that I think to myself. And as Jayette said, I would never speak to anybody that way. I've got women that, that I support in Groove School, and they come with some really difficult things sometimes, things that they're working through, the things that they're trying to figure out. I would never speak to them that way. I've got children. I don't speak to them that way. I look at them and I say, oh, come on now. Like, nobody's perfect, and you tried, and, all the things. So it really is a matter of asking ourselves, like, why do we have such a self-critical viewpoint on our shortcomings? Because logically we can say, sure, everybody's got shortcomings, everybody's got weaknesses. But for some reason, if we fixate on ours from such a negative place, there's no positive momentum can springboard forward from that. So I really hope that kicking off this monthly topic of motivation, I feel like this was a good topic. It seemed to touch the nerves. Tiff says, "Oh, lady, tell that biz to shut her yapper." Isn't that the truth? I'm so much more than what I eat in a day, and I'm so much bigger, better, and more amazing than that voice. Thanks, Tiff. Thank you. And the same goes to all of you. And that's just it. Is you think about it, like, my value cannot be reduced to a set of choices that I make. Granted, my success and my achievement of any goals that I might set, absolutely, it's based all upon the choices I make every day, the habits that I've got in place. But we're so much bigger than those individual choices, and mostly we just have to remember that, like, everyone's on a journey. We are not to compare our journey to anybody else, and all we can do is strive to get better every single day. So thank you guys for joining me on this Monday, and thank you for coming back on the replay. So I'm sorry about the video tech, the tech snafus that we had at the beginning. But the one thing I want to just mention to you guys is, speaking of habits, I am reopening today the enrollment for the 5-day. So it was previously called the 5-day Groove Experience, and I renamed it to Force. It's called Force of Habit. So it's a 5-day, it's a live experience. So you'll get videos and worksheets every single day to help you learn this. It's a kick-ass framework. So what's cool about this framework is it really helps you create powerful, intentional habits. Because what we are literally a sum of the habits that we take on every single day. And so this framework is something that once you learn it, you can apply it to every single part of your life. So no matter what the context is for you, if you're trying to become a more patient mom or a more compassionate friend, or you're trying to be healthier, whatever, get more sleep, be on social media less, any of those things are all perfect examples of how to use this framework that we're going to go through in Force of Habit. It starts on April 16th, so it's the 16th through the 20th. And like I said, enrollment starts today. It's totally free. And you'll get kind of that experience of what it's like to really work one-on-one with somebody, because I'll be helping you actually move through all of the lessons as well. So there's some pre-recorded video components, and then every single day we go live together at noon. And then you can like share any of your questions, you can ask, you can submit your stuff to me. And in that week, you just get some kind of laser focused coaching on creating powerful habits, because nothing matters more. We are a sum of the things we repeatedly do. And so that's why we need to get a good grasp on our habits. So I'll post the link for that below. You guys can check that out. And in the meantime, oh, it's okay. Gabby, just watch the replay. We're good. In the meantime, oh yeah, Tiff's coming back, doing it again. Yeah, it is so powerful, and it's so easy to slip out of. It's such a simple process, like the thing that we go through in this, and yet it's easy to slip out and kind of forget how simple and powerful it can be. So I totally urge you guys to check that out. And of course, if you have any questions once you take a look at it, or if technology doesn't work, which sometimes happens, let me know and I'll get it fixed as soon as I possibly can. But again, just know this, that first of all, I love you guys. I love you for hanging out with me every single Monday. I love you for constantly giving me a reason to get my ass out of bed, even on the gloomiest and snowiest of Mondays, to show up for you guys, because you show up for me, and that's fantastic. And then just related to today's topic, I just want to remind you that you don't have to wait for anything to be better in order to be good. You're good as you are. And once you can see yourself that way and take off the self-criticism shades, it's going to change everything about how you handle yourself as you're trying to make changes in your life. And I'm here to support you, of course, in any way possible. So as always, everyone, until we see each other again, groove on, okay? Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon, okay?